Hello viewers, we are going to discuss the chapter Human Excretory System. Learning outcomes means at the end of the chapter what you will learn. You will be able to explain what is excretion, the need of excretion and its significance. Significance means importance. You will be able to learn what are the body organs which are associated with excretory system and the structures and the functions of the excretory organs. You will be able to describe the disorders which are related to urinary system. Urinary system means excretory system. These questions generally come to the mind. Why does your body produce urine? What would happen if your body did not produce it? Do you think it is produced in the same way as fishes? Let us discuss it in detail. There are two categories of organisms based upon the number of cells. These are unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. We can take the example of unicellular organism, amoeba. An amoeba carries out all its life functions by itself. How it carries out? Because a single cell performs all the activities. Amoeba, which is a unicellular organism, the single cell performs all the activities of the body. What type of activities? Movement, reproduction, respond to changes, nutrition, excretion, respiration and growth. But how these processes occur in case of multicellular organisms? Multicellular organisms, we can take the example of human body. There are 11 main organ systems in human body. What are those organ systems? These are muscular system, skeletal system, digestive system, respiratory system, excretory system, circulatory system, reproductive system, nervous system, immune system, endocrine system and integumentary system. Let us learn about the excretory system in detail. The food that you eat is needed for many metabolic activities. What do you mean by metabolic activities? Metabolic activities means the functions which are carried out by the cells. So what is the requirement of the food? Food supplies energy when it combines with oxygen. So that is part of your respiration. So due to the metabolic activities, that means as the chemical reactions occur in the body, means in the living organism, certain products are produced in the body. So what are the types of products produced? Basically there are 3 types of products produced in the body. Some of the products are useful products, some of the products are harmless products and some products are dangerous or toxic products. So these are the 3 category of products. So useful products or the useful substances are required by the body cells and those substances are harmless, so there is nothing to bother for those. But what about the dangerous or the toxic substances? Toxic substances means poisonous substances. So what to do with the poisonous substances? These substances have to be removed from the body. That's why excretion is required. So what is excretion? Excretion is the process by which unwanted material is sent out of the body. Unwanted material means those materials are not required by the body. Mostly the nitrogenous waste products, those are produced by the breakdown of proteins and also certain other harmful substances. So how to define excretion? Excretion is the removal of harmful and unwanted nitrogenous waste products from the body. Let us learn the different ways of excretion in humans. The human body excretes waste in 3 different ways. So which are the body organs which are related to excretion? The kidneys, the skin and the lungs. Which are the products? Those are released from the kidneys? Urine. The product is urine which is released through the kidneys. Like that, sweat which is released through the skin, and the exhaled air which contains carbon dioxide. This is the formula. Carbon dioxide that is excreted through the lungs. Let us learn in detail about the substances those are excreted by the body. Urea and uric acid. How these are produced? These are the nitrogenous waste substances produced in body. So we are taking various kinds of substances like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, water, roughage. Out of this, we know that protein is the bodybuilding material. So protein helps in building the muscles and also help in production of enzymes. And the body cannot store proteins. Protein cannot be stored. Though carbohydrate is stored in the form of glycogen, but protein cannot be stored. They are converted to fats and stored. So in the form of protein or in the form of amino acids, these are not stored in the body. Rather, protein is converted to the form of fats and it is stored under the skin, or it may be broken to get energy. When carbohydrate is exhausted, when carbohydrate is not found in the body, when someone is starving, in that case fat releases energy, or else protein is converted to the form of carbohydrate and it supplies energy. Urea and uric acid are byproducts of these processes. They are excreted by the kidneys through the urine. So as proteins are converted to amino acids are converted to ammonia is converted to urea, and urea is converted to uric acid. So in case of human beings, urea is the chief nitrogenous waste and also uric acid is formed as the byproduct of protein metabolism. So these substances are excreted by the kidneys through the urine. So remember, urine is the substance and kidney is the main organ. Next, excess salts. What kind of salts are produced in the body? Excess salts. These salts are mainly of common salt, that we can say sodium chloride, potassium chloride. So these salts are harmful for the body and are removed from the body through urine. Some salts are also excreted through sweat. Remember, excess salts, some amount are removed along with urine and some amount with the sweat. Have you ever tasted sweat? What is the taste of the sweat? Is it salty or not? Yes, you might have tasted it. Next, vitamins and medication. Vitamins are of 2 types. These are water soluble vitamins and fat soluble vitamins. Water soluble vitamins are vitamin B complex. Rectify, it is called as vitamin B complex. Why? It is combination of many vitamin B. That's why called as vitamin B complex. And vitamin C. always write vitamin B complex and vitamin C instead of writing vitamins B and C. So these are excreted through urine. If we intake more vitamin B complex and vitamin C, these are not stored in the body, rather these are excreted through urine because these are water soluble. Excess medication and byproducts of medicines are also excreted. That is not useful to our body, that is excreted. Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is produced during respiration. We exhale carbon dioxide. We intake air which contains more oxygen and we exhale air that contains more carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is produced during respiration. So it is toxic to the body, that's why it is excreted through the lungs. So the organ is the lungs and the substance is carbon dioxide. Water. Water is very useful to the body, but excess of water is harmful to the body. Remember, anything that is excess is harmful. So excess water is excreted through the urine and in the form of sweat. Through the urine, which is the body organ? The kidneys. And through the sweat means which is the body organ? It is the skin. Let us learn the urinary system. Urinary system means excretory system. The urinary system produces urine. The organs of the urinary system are the kidneys, the main organs, ureters, urinary bladder and urethra. Kidneys. The kidneys are two bean-shaped reddish brown organs that are roughly the size of a fist. So here the question arises, shape of the kidneys. What's the shape of the kidneys? Shape. It is mentioned here, bean shaped. So this shape, which is convex on one side and concave on the other side, it is called as reniform shaped. Reniform shaped. And what is the color? It is reddish brown color and roughly the size of a fist. Then next comes location. What's the location of the kidneys? They are located at the back and top of the abdomen, one on either side of the vertebral column. Let us learn the human urinary system in this diagram. There are certain mistakes. Please rectify those mistakes. This is labeled as renal artery. This is not renal artery. This is called as aorta. And how to identify? Put a downward arrow mark. This is kidney. Because there are two kidneys located, you have to label which is left and which is right. So this is the left kidney. Always label the paired organs as left and right. So label it as left kidney. This is ureter. Like that, there are two ureters present, that's why label it as left ureter. This is labeled as renal vein. This is a mistake again. Rectify it. This is inferior vena cava. And put an upward arrow mark. This is urinary bladder and this is urethra. We can find the urethral sphincter where you can find urethral sphincter at the opening of the urinary bladder to urethra. This is the location of the urethral sphincter. You can label it as urethral sphincter. And this is urethra. This blood vessel which arises from the aorta is known as renal artery. So this is left renal artery. And this blood vessel which joins with the inferior vena cava is known as renal vein. So this is left renal vein. You can find these two structures above the kidneys. So these are the adrenal glands, but these are not part of the excretory system, rather these are parts of endocrine system. Label it as left adrenal gland. Let us know the parts of this diagram of the urinary system. Those are not labeled. This is the right adrenal gland, this is the right kidney, this is the right renal artery, this is the right renal vein, this is the right ureter. So these parts are not labeled here. So if the question is asked to label the various parts, so you can label accordingly. Remember, always the paired organs are to be labeled as left or right. Now let us study the structure of the kidney. If a kidney is cut open, that means lengthwise, means this is the longitudinal section of the kidney. We can find here three distinct regions. What are the three distinct regions? A dark outer region called the cortex. Because it is related to kidney, the outer part which is called as cortex is to be written as renal cortex. So write the structure is renal cortex. A lighter inner region called the medulla. The medulla is the inner part, so it is to be written as renal medulla. A light color region in the curve of the kidney called the renal pelvis. This is the part, the funnel shaped part, which is called as the renal pelvis. The ureter start from the renal pelvis. That means the broad funnel shaped structure of the ureter is known as renal pelvis. So these are the two blood vessels. One blood vessel carries blood into the kidney, another blood vessel carries blood away from the kidney. Always identify the blood vessels from the arrow marks. This is the ureter. Do you know which is the structural and functional unit of the kidney? It is nephron. Each kidney has around 1 million nephrons. Remember, 1 million nephrons. The nephron is also called the renal tubule. It is a microscopic tubular structure in the kidney. So this is the structure of the nephron. Identify the structure of the nephron. Each nephron has a cup-like structure called the Bowman's capsule. This is the cup-like structure which is called the Bowman's capsule. A ball of very thin capillaries called the glomerulus is enclosed within the Bowman's capsule. We can find this is written as glomerulus. Glomerulus means a bunch of capillaries. Capillaries means the network of thin blood vessels. The Bowman's capsule continues into a long tubule and opens into a collecting duct. So this is the Bowman's capsule. From here up to this region, it's called the long tubule. This is a long tubule and that opens in the collecting duct. So this is the collecting duct. Each nephron is surrounded by a network of capillaries. You can find here this is the network of capillaries. And what is the function of this network of capillaries? They absorb all the materials that the body requires. So those are reabsorbed from the urine. No, it is not from the urine, rather it is called as nephric filtrate. So correct it is nephric filtrate. So instead of using the term urine, use the term nephric filtrate or renal filtrate. So what are the parts to be labeled? This is the Bowman's capsule, the cup-shaped structure. The glomerulus is nothing but the bunch of capillaries. This is written as artery. Which artery? This is renal artery. And which vein it is? This is renal vein. And these are the capillaries. So these capillaries are different from glomerulus. So this glomerulus is also a bunch of capillaries, but that is formed inside the cup-shaped cavity of the Bowman's capsule. But these capillaries surround the tubular part, the long tubular part of the nephron. These are called the secondary capillaries. And this is the collecting duct. Now let us learn how urine is formed. Urine is formed from the blood that enters the kidneys through the renal arteries. We will discuss it in detail. This is renal artery. This is one branch of renal artery that carries blood into the Bowman's capsule, and this branch is called as afferent arteriole. So this afferent arteriole breaks off into glomerulus, then those capillaries rejoin to form another blood vessel that exits the Bowman's capsule, which is known as efferent arteriole. So that is not described in this diagram. So most of the components of the blood plasma, including salts, glucose, water and other substances, are filtered into the Bowman's capsule. How it happens? Identify the diagram. This is the afferent arteriole, which is wider compared to the efferent arteriole, that is narrow in diameter. So the afferent arteriole is wider compared to the efferent arteriole. And as blood enters into the glomerulus through the afferent arteriole, but the same amount of blood cannot exit through the efferent arteriole, so the blood in the glomerulus is under pressure. Due to that pressure, here blood is filtered into the Bowman's capsule. Follow the arrow mark. The blood is now filtered into the Bowman's capsule. So which part of the blood that is filtered? The fluid part of the blood is the plasma. So the plasma is filtered. So what the plasma contains? The plasma contains salts, glucose, it contains also water and other substances, including some urea and uric acid. Those are filtered into the Bowman's capsule. But remember, the blood cells like erythrocytes, leukocytes and thrombocytes and plasma proteins, they cannot enter the renal tubule. That means the long tubular part of the nephron. These are not filtered, rather they are retained and they now pass into the efferent arteriole. Next, This is the first step of urine formation. As the filter material travels down the renal tubule, most of the salts, glucose and water are reabsorbed by the surrounding capillaries. The body needs the bulk of these materials. We came to know that water, salts, glucose, all these are filtered into the Bowman's capsule, but these substances are required by the body cells. That's why these substances cannot be eliminated from the body. That's why the next step is selective reabsorption. So those substances are already filtered here. Those substances are reabsorbed by the capillary network and they again enter into the blood circulation. So which substances are entering into the blood circulation? The useful substances like the salts, glucose and extra water, these all are entering into the secondary capillaries and they now enter into the main blood circulation. The blood in the capillaries along with the reabsorbed material that is returned to the main circulatory system through the renal veins. So after passing through the capillary network, now the blood containing all the useful substances now join or that exit through the renal vein. The remaining waste with excess water eventually reaches the ureters and urinary bladder is urine. The urine is sent out of the body through the urethra. Now look at this diagram. See, this is the collecting duct. And the collecting ducts open in the renal pelvis. So all the collecting ducts open in the renal pelvis and from the renal pelvis now urine passes down through the ureter and from the ureter urine now is collected in the urinary bladder. Look at this diagram. As urine is collected in the renal pelvis, from the renal pelvis urine now passes down through the ureters and ureters collect urine, ureters bring urine into the urinary bladder and through the urethra urine is now excreted out, means it is excreted. Now let us learn the composition of urine. What is the composition of urine? Urine is pale yellow liquid that consists mostly of 95% water with dissolved salts, little amount of urea, uric acid and salts of sodium and potassium like sodium chloride, potassium chloride, then creatinine. This is the composition of urine. What about the ureters? The ureters are a pair of narrow tubes that arise from the kidneys. They carry urine from the kidneys to the urinary bladder. These are the ureters, as we have already discussed. The ureters arise from the kidney and the ureter carries blood into the urinary bladder. Then what about the urinary bladder? Urinary bladder is a muscular, elastic sac. Sac means a bag-like or pouch-like structure, and where it is located? It is located in the lower abdomen. It can typically hold 300 to 400 milliliters of urine. Urine is stored in the urinary bladder for some time before it is sent out of the body. That means, what is the function of urinary bladder? Urinary bladder stores urine temporarily. If it is asked what is the function of the ureter, ureter brings urine or it transports urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder. Humans usually urinate 6 to 8 times a day. So already we have discussed. So what are the ureters and function of the ureters? They carry urine from the kidneys to the urinary bladder. And what is urinary bladder? It is a muscular elastic sac. Where is it located? It is located in the lower abdomen. So what is the capacity of the urinary bladder to store urine? It can store urine from 300 to 400 milliliters of urine. And what is the function of urinary bladder? Urinary bladder stores urine for some time before it is sent out of the body. So how many times urination occurs in case of human being? 6 to 8 times a day. So what is urethra? Urethra is a short tube that connects the urinary bladder to the outside of the body. The question will be asked, what is urethra? So the answer will be, it is a short tube that connects the urinary bladder to the outside of the body. Its main function, so the question will be mention its main function. Its main function is to expel urine from the body. A urinary sphincter, that is known as urethral sphincter. It is a circular ring of muscle that is found at the end of the urethra to prevent constant expulsion of urine. Please rectify here. It is not at the end of the urethra, rather you will write here a urinary sphincter is located, or it is found at the opening of the urinary bladder to urethra. Okay, this is not correct. End of the urethra is not correct. Look at this diagram. It is labeled as urethral sphincter, that is urinary sphincter that is located at the base of the urinary bladder that opens into the urethra. So this is the location of urethral sphincter or urinary sphincter. What is the function of urinary sphincter? To prevent constant expulsion of urine. So when the urinary bladder is filled with urine under the impulse from the brain, now the urethral sphincter or the urinary sphincter opens, then urine can pass out. There is an important information. The question will be asked, what is osmoregulation? Kidney performs two functions. Can you say what are the two functions? One function is excretion. Another function is osmoregulation. So what is osmoregulation? Maintaining the amount of water in the body by regulating the absorption of water in the renal tubule. Maintaining the amount of water in the body is called as osmoregulation. So how it is maintained? By regulating the absorption of water in the renal tubules. So the long renal tubules already we have discussed. If the urine contains, if the nephric filtrate contains more water, if that is required by the body cells, that means to conserve water, now water is reabsorbed by the renal tubules, and this process is carried out by the kidneys, and the process is known as osmoregulation. Here is a question for you. The question is, how you tend to urinate more frequently in winter than in summer if you drink the same amount of water? It is asked about winter season and in summer season. The answer is, listen the answer carefully. In summer season, we generally lose more water. How we lose more water? Through perspiration, means through sweating. And the kidney have to absorb more water from the nephric filtrate, making the nephric filtrate more concentrated. That's why the urine is found to be concentrated. But the same condition is not found in winter season. During winter season, the sweating or the perspiration is least or not found, or generally very less. That's why the kidney is not reabsorbing water from the nephric filtrate. So the urine which is formed during winter season, that is voluminous. This is all about osmoregulation. Remember, this is a question. You may get this question is give reason. What is nephrology? Nephrology deals with the study of the kidneys. Who is a nephrologist? A nephrologist is a doctor who specializes in the study of the kidneys and the treatment of the kidney diseases. So we can take the example of kidney failure. So a nephrologist who deals with the kidney failure. So nephrologists work in hospitals or have their own clinics, work in pharmaceutical companies and so on. They treat kidney disorders, kidney stones and so on. These are carried out by the nephrologist. Then who is a urologist? A urologist is a doctor who specializes in surgery done to fix disorders of all organs of the urinary system. Remember the two terms. This is nephrologist and this is urologist. Can you answer these questions? Fill in the blanks. Excess salts are excreted through dash and dash. Can you say the answer? Already we have discussed. Kidneys and skin. The kidneys are a pair of organs that are located at the back and top of the dash. Abdomen. The nephrons are also called dash. The nephrons are also called as renal tubules. Blood cleaned of all waste in the kidneys enters the main circulation again through the dash veins. The answer is renal veins. The major component of urine is dash. It is. Let us learn the disorders of the urinary system. There are many diseases or disorders that are related to the urinary system. What is urinary tract infections? It is known as UTI. We will discuss this disorder through 4 types of questions. First is, what is the site of occurrence? Means where it occurs. So we'll mention it. Kidneys, ureter, urinary bladder or urethra. So I am writing here number 1. The site of occurrence. Second question. What is the cause of UTI? UTIs are caused by bacteria. So I am writing here number 2. Then third, what are the symptoms of UTI? Number 3. Symptoms of UTI include an intense urge to urinate, means an intense feeling to urinate, frequent urination, a burning sensation while urinating, and urine that smells and looks different from normal. Then question number 4, treatment. How is it treated? UTIs are usually treated with antibiotics. So here 4 types of questions are framed. So accordingly you can remember and you can write the answer. Now let us discuss about the kidney stones. Like that, we'll frame question again. Question number 1. What is the site of occurrence? So, kidney stones are generally found in the kidneys, ureters and urinary bladder. So, we can write it here as number 1. Second question. Cause of kidney stones. Number 2. Kidney stones are caused when minerals in the urine are deposited in the kidneys, thus causing the formation of crystals over a long time. These crystals are called renal calculi. Then next question. What are the kidney stones made up of? 3. Question number 3. Kidney stones are usually made up of calcium oxalate, calcium phosphate or uric acid. Then question number 4. The symptoms. Kidney stones may block the passage of urine and cause severe pain when they move. Then number 5. Treatment. How the kidney stones can be treated. The stones may be treated with medicine, broken down using ultrasound with the help of ultrasound, so that they can be passed out normally or removed through surgery. Remember, UTIs and kidney stones can be prevented to an extent by drinking sufficient water. So, it is always advisable to drink enough water. What is kidney failure? When the kidneys are unable to function normally and hence waste is not removed from the blood, the condition is called as kidney failure and it is a serious condition. Remember, the body can manage when only one kidney functions properly. But what happens if both the kidneys are damaged? So, dialysis has to be carried out. So, what is dialysis? Dialysis is the process of separating waste substances out of the blood of people with damaged kidney. That means in this process, blood is to be purified artificially. When the kidneys are not functioning, blood is to be purified artificially through the artificial kidney. So, look at this diagram. During dialysis, what happens? The blood is taken out of the body. How blood is taken out of the body? Follow this arrow mark. Blood is taken out of the body through the radial artery. Remember, this is radial artery. And the waste removed before the blood is sent back into the body. That means the blood which passes into the dialyzer. What is dialyzer? Dialyzer means it is a filter that is called as artificial kidney. So, this dialyzer is nothing but the artificial kidney. So, blood passes through the artificial kidney and blood is now purified. So, the waste substances are now removed, these are collected, and the purified blood, that means which is devoid of the toxic substances, it now enters into the body through a vein. So, blood comes out from the body into the dialyzer through the artery, that means from the artery, whereas blood enters into the body through the vein. What is kidney transplant? In severe cases of kidney failure, one of the solutions can be a kidney transplant. What is that? A healthy kidney is selected from a donor whose tissue type matches that of the patient. Remember, the kidney must be healthy, and the donor's tissue that must be matching with the recipient, that means with the patient's tissue. The donor could be alive and donating one of their kidneys or deceased. Usually the damaged kidney is left in place and the new kidney is connected to the blood supply. The recipient will need to take medication throughout their life to protect the kidney. Now let's know excretion by the skin, lungs and liver. So what is skin? What are the other structures of the skin? We will discuss that in this diagram. Study this figure. This is the vertical section, cross section means vertical section, VS, vertical section of the skin. Look at which is the sweat gland. This is the sweat gland, the highly coiled tubular structure, and this is the sweat duct, and this is the sweat pore that opens on the surface of the skin. This is the oil gland, and the oil gland opens in the hair follicle. These are the blood vessels, the blood supply. Then the upper surface is the epidermis, and this part of the skin below the epidermis is the dermis. So what is the location of the sweat gland? Sweat gland is located in the dermis of the skin. Skin is also an organ of excretion. It contains numerous sweat glands. This is the diagram of one sweat gland. Waste in blood such as excess water, salts, some urea, uric acid, those diffuses into the sweat glands and is excreted along with sweat. So the evaporation of sweat from the surface of the skin, evaporation from the surface of the skin is known as sweating. And this sweating helps in cooling the body also. So two functions are carried out by the skin. One is excretion, second is thermoregulation, that means in cooling the body. Then additionally the skin has oil glands that secrete oil. Oil is known as sebum. Oil, the biological term is sebum. The oil gland is known as sebaceous glands. This oil helps to prevent the entry of most substances into the body from the outside through the skin, and also prevents loss of water from the body. It also keeps the skin soft. So it insulates the body, we can say in one way. It prevents the entry of most substances into the body. It never allows any substance to enter. No substance can enter into the body because of the presence of this oily secretion, and also prevent the loss of water from the body. It keeps the skin soft because it is oily in nature, so it keeps the substance soft. Skin is kept soft. The lungs. The lungs help the body to send out the carbon dioxide that is produced during aerobic respiration. Remember, aerobic respiration requires presence of oxygen. So blood carries the carbon dioxide to the lungs, from where it is excreted along with exhaled air. Exhaled air contains more carbon dioxide, whereas inhaled air contains more oxygen. In this way, the lungs help in removing carbon dioxide from the body. Then the liver. Liver breaks down proteins such as hemoglobin. Where do you find hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is associated with RBC, red blood corpuscle. RBC contains hemoglobin, that's why it is red in color. So it contains the iron part, that is called as heme, and it contains the protein part, that is called as globin. It also helps in breakdown of the medicines, harmful substances such as poisons and so on into harmless substances and excretes them into bile. So these waste substances are excreted along with bile. So where bile is transported, bile enters the intestines and is ultimately sent out of the body through the feces. So bile opens in the duodenum part of the intestine. It is the first part of the small intestine, and from there it is sent to the large intestine and in the form of feces that is eliminated. So feces are formed in the large intestine. This is all about the chapter excretory system. Thank you.